Let's get into it. Beyond the Scoreboard. We're about to dive deep. Welcome to Beyond the Scoreboard. Let's go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard. I am your host, Effie James, and I'm excited to be back after a small hiatus. I was working on a few projects and some things that I hope can expand our view here on Beyond the Scoreboard. The first thing I want to say is that I'm very happy and grateful for the folks over at Richland Source. They have now become partners with me in this podcast experiment, and we'll be streaming episodes of Beyond the Scoreboard on all their media platforms. So I want to take a moment here to thank Larry Phillips, Jay Allred, Zach Heiser, Kurt Conrad, and all the folks over at Richland Source for partnering with me and continuing to be one of the best in local media coverage. So if you're watching this episode on Richland Source Media and in one of their sources, welcome. And please go over to Beyond the Scoreboard with Effie James on YouTube and like and subscribe. And even become a follower on the BTS Facebook page. Now, with that bit of housekeeping out of the way, I want to say that I have been anticipating this episode for months. If you're a fan of local high school basketball, you know all about Mansfield senior basketball. They are the fourth winningest team in Ohio. They are the star team on everyone's schedule. If you're playing Mansfield, you know it's your big game. No matter how big you are, no matter whether you're a great team or whatever the status of your team is, they're your star game. One of the most historic programs in Ohio in terms of name recognition, and it's no secret, they're my alma mater. I am excited today because I have the pleasure to have in studio the head basketball coach of the 2026 district champion. And let me say that one more time. District champion, regional finalist, Mansfield boys basketball team, Mr. Marquis Sykes. Coach Sykes, thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me. What an intro right there. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, my guy. First, Coach, I want to ask you this. How did it feel taking this team to the Elite Eight this season? I know it's been, you've been in coaching for a while, but for you, now I know, you're a team guy, I get it, but for you, how did it feel taking this team to the Elite Eight?
It was exciting. Made a lot of lasting memories. It's just excitement. I was excited to see the city really get behind us, and schools, students, the administration, everybody supporting, everybody behind us. So just excited, just happy, blessed, and grateful. All of those things come to mind. It was just a memorable experience. Hopefully, we put ourselves in a position to not let this be the last time we make a run like this.
For sure. Now, you played on one of the great Tyger teams, and your senior year, you led that team to the Final Four in Columbus, and barbershops all around this town have been in arguments for hours about the greatness of your team and against the greatness of, I know yours and my personal favorite, the 85 Tyger team with Bub Toddy, your cousin Ahmed Kent. And I know people go back and forth and about great teams in high school, but I want somebody, and I figured you was coming in. I said, well, look, I'm going to put Marquis on the spot. Make the argument for your 99 team against that 85 squad, because I hear everybody talking about, and I'm, I'm 85, and I know you're an 85 guy. We know that. We know they were a great team, but make the argument for your 99 team if they had to play that 85 team?
All right. So if we had to play, all right, put me on the spot here. I like our depth against them. I think we were a deeper team. I think overall they were probably a little more athletic than us. You got Bob Toddy, arguably the best athlete to ever race the Mansfield senior uniform. He would be a top 2, 3, 4, 5 athlete all time.
Right.
But I think we were deeper. I would say we probably were a better shooting team from the perimeter.
Yeah.
But the differences in the games at the time, they didn't have a 3-point line back then.
Right.
You did have a 3-point line. I understand 99. But I think the difference for us would be the fact that we had an NBA draft pick coming off the bench. That would be one of the differences.
Yeah.
I just think overall our depth, we had to go head to head. We may have been able to come out on the side just because we were a little deeper.
Yeah, and I like those points you made, especially about the 3-point line, because one of the great things about that 99 team that I remember is the fact that, even our bigs could shoot. Ali Thompson, Jeremy Butts, they could step out and shoot threes. And although that 85 team, with Tim Harless and Tyrone Buck could shoot perimeter shots, they were about 15 feet and in, and those were still worth 2. You know what I mean? But I just love those arguments, man. They're just some great teams. And that 99 team was outstanding, man. So, you were a great high school player and went on to be a record breaking point guard at Morehead State. What made you get into coaching and what made you get into coaching? How did you know you were going to be a coach? Was it something that kind of clicked when you were in college? What made you want to be a high school basketball coach?
Always kind of knew I wanted to be around basketball in some capacity. The initial plan was to play some pro ball, but that didn't quite pan out the way I wanted it to. So that dream kind of went to the side. Up next was to start coaching. So I my first year out of college, I was a student assistant down in Morehead for about a season.
With Coach Macy.
Yeah, with Coach Kyle Macy. Played 7 years in the NBA.
Right.
Several years over in Italy, professional. So great player. One of the greatest high school basketball players in the state of Indiana.
Absolutely.
Won a national championship with the University of Kentucky in college, and then went on to be a pretty solid professional ball player. So learned a lot from him as far as coaching goes. That kind of got the juices flowing when I was a student assistant. And from there, came back home, then did another season as an actual assistant coach at Morehead State University. So I was there for one season. And then Coach Macy resigned and stepped down. So he came back to Mansfield and told Coach Collins I wanted to be around. And I was a JV coach.
Right.
So then I held that position as a JV coach for about 10 years. A couple years with Coach Collins, a few years with you and the helm, and a few years with JT. And, that's all she wrote.
Right. I think when you talk about, I think people talk about coaching chops. You know what I mean? And I've always thought about you as having real coaching chops, man, and being able to, I've watched you coach all different types and dynamics of teams and I just sit back in amazement of how you're able to, coach all the different levels of talent that you have and things like that. But one of the things that I want to ask you about too, and I want to talk about a few things but how do you balance the grind? There's a sacrifice and you and I well know that comes with high school coaching at a school with so much expectation but yet still being a dad, still being a husband and yourself, you're a therapist. How do you manage and balance the grind?
it's, well, you know,
Yeah. It's not easy.
It comes with limited sleep sometimes, especially during season. But got to have great support system. You know, obviously I got my wife at home that fills the void when I can't be around as much as I want to be during our season. So it's really the support system. It's really just learning to balance and prioritize and time manage all of the different things that we have to manage in order to be effective in all the different roles and hats that we wear. So during the season, my company, they kind of allow me to put basketball 1A, 1D-ish during the season. My family obviously is always going to be top priority. So if I'm needed, they're going to come first regardless of work, basketball, or whatever else needs to happen. I have to prioritize what's going on in my family life. But after that, it's based on my support system being there and hold us down. I got great in-laws that hold us down. I got my dad who will hold us down and do anything that we ask. My cousin, William Kent, holds us down all the time. If we need to drop off or pick up or somebody at the house sit, whatever we need. It's just like based on having a tremendous support system. So big ups to them. I appreciate y'all for holding us down during the season and helping us get to and do all the things that need to be done.
That's great. That's exactly what it takes. No question about it. You know, you were coached by, and, you know, we both coached with a tough guy. You know what I mean? And then I don't know how different to say it. You know, Greg Collins, who is a nice guy, right, but a tough coach. Yeah. And intense. And I would argue, and I tell people all the time, I think his approach to coaching, even though I think his approach is different than yours and mine, I would argue that I think that it made us better assistants. But with that being said, you know, your style is considerably different than his. What's the secret to getting max effort? You know, his way was a certain way, and he got max effort. You know what I mean? You know, but what's the secret for you to get max effort out of your players, especially like we talked about getting so many different variables from year to year? What's your secret to getting max effort out of your players?
I think one thing is probably the relationship building. Just building those close relationships with the guys, with the players, learning what makes them tick, what motivates them. And just knowing that for some, each kid is different, you know, so it's just learning exactly what makes them tick and doing whatever we can to get the best out of them, and just making sure that they know and understand that us as a staff, that we're there for them, whether it's basketball stuff, life stuff, we're there for them. I think we build that relationship with these young men, and they know that you're there for them. They trust you, and they know that you have a genuine love and care for them. They'll play hard. They play hard for themselves. They play hard for their families. They play hard for their name on the front of the jerseys. And they play hard for the coach.
Wow. Yeah. I think that what you said about the players playing hard for, you know, because of that relationship, man, that really is the key. And I, you know, when I watch you interact with your players, what was interesting to me, I feel like, and you tell me, but it feels like to me, you have a unique relationship with every single, you know what I mean? Your relationship is unique with every single player, and it has to be. Where I feel like, even for me as a coach, I felt like there were times where I had a general relationship with some players. Now, there were some players that you had to have unique relationships with it, but now it seems like every player, every single one of them, you got to have your own special, unique relationship. Is that just about right?
I'd say so. Yeah, I'd say so. It's just different. It's just a little different. I think just learning and growing each play. I think I had to, I don't know, I guess get a little more comfortable just with myself and who I was as far as a coach and just learning to be comfortable with being myself. And not trying to be somebody that I'm not. You take little pieces from everybody that you coach with. Little pieces from Coach Collins, little piece from you, a piece from JT, pieces from some of my college coaches, and just throw all of that stuff together on top of me just being myself. And I think that was the biggest piece for me, learning and figuring out how to build relationships with the players and try to get the best out of it.
I want to shift gears a little bit about, the grand scheme of high school basketball. The OHSAA is, evolving. They're doing some changing, and they're talking about changing a lot of things. And I kind of want to get your thoughts, on things like NIL for high school players and bringing the shot clock to Ohio. What do you think about, this evolution that the OHSAA is trying to push, as it seems like they're trying to everything is trickling down from professional sports to college and now into high school. What do you think about those things?
First and foremost, I am a shot clock advocate. I'd like to see the shot clock happen. Pretty quickly. Obviously, selfishly, I feel like it'll benefit our style of play a little more. But I've always felt like all the levels of the game of basketball should kind of mirror themselves. Professional, see a shot clock. Collegiate, you see a shot clock. I think it's natural that we probably should have a shot clock in high school. I think it's kind of ridiculous that college plays 2 halves and not 4 quarters. I think all of the levels should mirror themselves as closely as possible. I know there's some logistics that's involved. It may be a little difficult in some situations to have a fully functional shot clocks and so forth and so on. I think we can figure it out. I think they need to figure it out. And I think the shot clock thing needs to, let's make it happen.
For sure. For sure. Now, the idea of, high school players being able to somehow earn, NIL benefits, and NIL, and what I'm learning now about how it works is not always in the form of dollars. Most of the times it is, but, the idea of high school kids being able to gain benefits from their name, image, and likeness. Where are you at on that?
I don't like that. Something different. I try not to be the old guy.
Right.
In the
Me
room,
too.
And I want to be open to evolving and not just staying in the same place and having the same thoughts and being so old school in my mindset. But on the flip side, I can see how it could be negative. A lot of negatives that come about. We've already seen, transferring and all of that kind of stuff. And high school ball has kind of got a bit out of control, and it can even start to get even more out of control as far as the NIL money. That thing starts to grow a bit bigger. So I'm a little indifferent because I can see some positives from it. It can help a lot of families. For sure. On the negative side, I think it could cause some too much bouncing around. Too much focus on money and different things like that, when our focus should be character building and trying to show young men how to become a grown.
I like that. I think I've told anybody that would listen when it comes to Tyger basketball. I'm feeling a bit prophetic these days, after the tournament run. And because I was people would ask, hey, look, you know how the season goes. And when early in the years, when I coached, when Greg coached, you would have a year that was, just 15 wins. And people are like, what's wrong with the Tigers? And, so I said, and you and I talked this summer before the season, and we were like, you were telling me like, man, we got hoopers now, this season. And when I looked at those players, you had guys that could dribble, shoot jump shots. You had legitimate hoopers. Now, Mansfield basketball has always been, we're always athletic. But no disrespect to any Tiger teams of the past. I was on one my senior year. We were a bunch of football players out there trying to win. And that's majority of the time what we have. And I always said, when we get a team of hoopers, watch out. And I feel like this year was one of the first years, if not the first year in a long time, where we had legit hoopers, kids that can shoot and hit open shots, kids that can dribble against pressure, kids that can create their own shots, kids that understood pass, cut. You didn't have to call a play every single time. You know what I mean? And I'm watching, I'm like, these kids can hoop. And so when this team makes a run to the Elite Eight, I'm like, so Coach Sykes gets hoopers and he takes them to the Elite. He takes the group of hoopers to the Elite Eight. I said that. You know what I mean? I said that from the beginning. All you need is a couple more hoopers and we gonna ride to the Elite Eight. So the question I have is, because now, Tiger Nation is spoiled now. So what now can we look forward to coming up this season? Who are some of the names that maybe didn't necessarily play so much this year, that could have an impact, next season?
Of course, everybody knows.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Everybody knows three guys that, they're going to kind of lead the way and handle the bulk of the scoring and the rebounding, those kinds of things, and the highlight dunks and the 23-foot three-point shots. We'll see all of that with those three guys. But we got another crew coming up. LeBron Williams. Remember that name. He's been putting in a lot of work this off season so far. Doing some big things as far as his travel ball schedule and in the weight room, and really trying to prepare himself for stepping into a bigger role this coming up season. Sammy Likely is another guy.
I like him.
He'll turn heads this upcoming season. He's been in the weight room. He's been in the gym working on the shot. He's been doing some skill work, getting his ball handling together, tightened up, and getting stronger. He's a soccer player as well, so we don't worry about his condition at all. He'll be able to get up and down the floor and play the way we need him to. And another guy played mostly JV for us this year, Jordan Powell. Remember that name, Jordan Powell. I expect he's going to turn a lot of heads and open a lot of eyes this upcoming season. This kid can shoot the basketball. He'll put you in the mind frame of Jalen Jones.
Okay.
Jalen Jones.
Yes. Okay.
So he's got that kind of clip.
Nice. Nice.
I know you remember Jalen from you can knock it down.
Yeah.
So he can shoot the way Jalen can shoot. So
Nice.
You ready?
That's nice. And that's the one thing about success, man. It is one of those things that, now kids really want to be involved. It's never been difficult to get kids to play basketball. But sometimes it's difficult for them to invest in things like off season. You know what I mean? That's where, I've always thought the postseason success could really, really help, when it's time for them to improve and put in that extra work. So that's great to hear that, about those young guys. You've always been one that honors, Tiger basketball and you're big on Tiger basketball being an extended family. I know you've often had alumni come in and practice and speak to the team. That's one of the hallmarks of your program, which I think is always awesome, man. Why are those types of things so important, to you and your kids understanding, how Tiger basketball is such a family?
I just think that's part of being a Tiger. That's part of Tiger basketball is once you're a Tiger, you're always a Tiger. So it's just it's an extension of family, and I'm a family guy naturally. So automatically, if I'm the coach, it's going to be alumni will be around, and I'll try to make it as much of a family atmosphere as I possibly can, and we bring guys in, and I want our players to know their history. That's just in order to get to where we want to go. We need to know our history, and we need to pay homage where it's due, and that's just how I prefer it. So I like to have a family atmosphere, and we'll continue to do it that way.
And one of the things that you and I have often always talked about as well is just, the expectation that comes with coaching and just being a part of Tiger sports is, it's an interesting dynamic. Tiger fans and supporters can be a way. They got a way, about them. They love you. You know what I mean? Like we talked about before, the run, it's always great to see tournament time and how the community comes together, and they will, they support, and whether it's football, basketball, no matter what sport, and there's times with any high level program, there's expectations, and I think you have to embrace that at times, but it gets tough. It gets tough sometimes, and especially, I know I remember speaking with some other coaches and that were alumni, of their school that they were coaching at. And it's tough sometimes being appreciated, in your hometown as a coach. So my question is, what keeps you motivated to come back and especially in the tough times? You know what I mean? We go to Elite Eight this year, and everybody has got, we gonna have, I'm hoping we have a Marquis Sykes bobblehead night. You know what I mean? We doing it up. But, like I don't know, there's been years where it's been tough. What keeps you motivated and coming back year after year, and seemingly with the same fire to get these kids better?
Part of it is my love for Tiger basketball. That's certainly, I think, a big piece of it. I love Tiger basketball. Always been a part of it. It's always been, I guess, kind of my first love. So that itself certainly brings me, has me continuing to come back. And then the love for the young people, certainly the relationships that I've built, and just the opportunity to be a part of these young men's lives, and be a part of their upbringing, be a part of their teaching, and just having that opportunity to see them kind of grow from babies at the family house, all the way through to being an adult men is priceless. Yeah. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I do it. So I'll be around for a while. Yeah. I expect I don't expect the love to go anywhere anytime soon, and I expect to be a Tiger. All right.
Yeah. We certainly hope that you are, man. Well, Thank you so much for being here, Coach. I truly appreciate your time. I know it is it's kind of kickback season for you right now, but I appreciate you taking the time to come, and good luck to you this coming season. I'll be there. Once again, Coach Marquis Sykes of the district champion, regional finalist, Mansfield Tigers, is here on Beyond the Scoreboard. I thank you so much, and I will be right back with today's final thought. One last time, I would like to thank my in-studio guest, Coach Marquis Sykes, for joining me today. I really appreciate him cutting out a few minutes to sit down and talk Tiger basketball, past, present, and future. I think we can agree the program is in good hands under his leadership, and I wish my brother nothing but the best. And for my final thought today, I want to discuss what shouldn't be controversial because it involves one of our own as an Ohioan. We're living in this era, this all-time debate era. If you watch any television, all the top sports shows, game shows, news shows, all are in debate format, arguing one point over another. So I hesitantly enter my own final thought to discuss the greatness of Ohio's own LeBron James. Now, I recognize that there have been unbelievable basketball players in all eras, and I've had a tremendous, and they've had a tremendous impact on the game. But when I look objectively at the resume of LeBron, I'm just not sure if there's been a player in any sport that entered professional sports with the level of expectation and hype that he did. At 17, he was already becoming the face of the NBA. And he had another year of high school basketball yet to play. The world demanded that he be great. And nobody has ever had to deal with that level of pressure at that age. Not even the great college players in that time, not Grant Hill, not Shaq, not Christian Laettner, none of the other players, not even the high school phenoms in that time. Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, and these guys, they were absolute basketball prodigies at the time. But still, they didn't get the weight of expectation that LeBron did. Some people didn't like the King James moniker that the media gave him, by the way, which, in my opinion, was all an effort to lift him up so high that they could just tear him down. But to his credit, all he done was come into the league, be the best player on every team that he has ever played on from day one. He has done it with professionalism, with class, so much so that his early criticism, I remember, was that he was too unselfish. That he passed on. I remember some early criticisms of him was like he wouldn't take big shots because the right play, he was making too many of the right plays. Even though that's been his game since he was in middle school, making the right basketball play. So now, here is LeBron in year 23, age 41, still carrying, currently, as we sit here today, still carrying his NBA franchise, their team in the playoff. He's the NBA's all-time leading scorer when scoring is not even his best attribute. And he continues to break records. And now the criticism is he's sticking around to pad numbers. Look, he knows at this point that if you don't think he's the GOAT, you're not going to ever think he's the GOAT. He knows that. He knows this, and I don't think he's ever going to try to change over any of those people who feel the way they feel, and everybody has a right to. But know this: all he has done since he's been in the NBA is lead his teams, be an upstanding citizen in a world where trouble is seeking to devour personalities like him in all levels and all ways. He is held close to his family, his friends, and while not being perfect, he has stayed true to his commitment to being the best basketball player he can be. Google defines greatness like this: the quality of being distinguished, eminent, or exceptionally superior in an ability, character, or achievement, often characterized by a relentless pursuit of excellence, positive impact, and service to others. It represents high-level performance, superior virtue, or intense large-scale impact on a field of humanity. And, I will end like this. I don't know if LeBron James is the best basketball player to ever play the game, but I am convinced he is the greatest. And that's my final thought. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Beyond the Scoreboard, and I'll see you next time.